Hello, everybody, for one last time, or you may be seeing this in the morning. Well, it is the morning hours now. I suppose it's about 12:30 East Coast time in Russia. I don't know what time it is, but we're here to wrap up the night. It has been a heck of a night. I am exhausted. Allen's exhausted. He's lost some of his clothing. My name's Colin McGuire. His name's Allen Etzler. We're here to recap what was the 2018 elections here in Frederick. Allen, what do you think?
A wild night, a big night. We saw some changes, no giant surprises outside of one delegation seat being flipped, but pretty much essentially what we expected tonight, I feel like.
Well, you got to get your Wolf Blitzer on.
Yeah, okay.
So that was for those watching at home. Let's start with the state of Maryland instead of county. We'll go, we saw no real surprises. Yeah, the lights aren't on us right now. We saw no real surprises with the governor race. Mm-hmm. Anything to add?
So they called governor early, right? Early in the night, we found out Larry Hogan was going to be the first Republican reelected governor since 1954. Not a huge surprise. Looks like the final numbers we're looking at says he did about 68%, 68.8%, so almost 69%. In Frederick, not exactly the high numbers Republicans were talking about, but still one-handedly. But the state delegation had what I'll consider to be a pretty big change. So Republicans in our state delegation is made up of our 2 state senators and our 6 delegates in districts 3A, 3B, and 4. Before tonight, that delegation was a 5-3 split in Republican favor. Tonight, that delegation has flipped to a 4-4 kind of tie. The big seat there was Ken Kerr unseating Delegate Bill Folden. So that makes it a 4-4 split. That is a big shift in power for our delegation, and we'll see how they work with the Republican governor in the next 4 years.
You think it'll go smoothly?
I think so. I think Larry Hogan has done a solid job, kind of trying to play the middle. We'll find out if he wants to if he wants to lean a little bit more to the right in the next 4 years, or if he's going to continue to be that kind of moderate Republican he's tried to be. All of our Republican legislators, except maybe Ron Young, would say, I think that Hogan's done a pretty good job looking out for Frederick County. The Republicans especially would say that. So I think he'll continue to operate in that manner for sure.
Let's move to the county now. Anything that stuck out to you walking away from tonight? County exec, we had Jan Gardner win. I don't think that was too much of a surprise. The sheriff's race kind of turned out the way we kind of thought it would. Mm-hmm. Anything that stuck out, though?
No, nothing major. We have 2 races we can't call yet, and so while we have a Democratic county executive, a Republican sheriff, the balance of power on the county council is still yet to be determined. So the county council is kind of the legislative branch, while the executive branch is that administrative, and they kind of check each other. And so we'll see where that goes. Our county council coming into tonight was 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats, and an independent candidate who used to be a Republican. And he was almost always the swing vote, and that's Bud Otis. Bud Otis didn't get reelected tonight. He finished a distant 5th in the county council. That's about the only thing we can call in the county council at large race. So we're looking at right now we have 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans who are shoo-ins. We're waiting for the results on the county council at large. It looks like we will get at least 1 Republican out of that race, either Phil Dacey or Danny Farrar. And then the next race is a toss-up. It could be Kai Hagan. It could be another Republican. I think Susan Jessie Reeder might have an outside chance, but not super likely. I would say that goes between probably Kai Hagan and Danny Farrar. And so that would give us 3-3 if Hagan wins that seat. And then it comes down to District 1. District 1 is still too close to call. Kevin Grubb has a lead here of about 50 votes. It's going to come down to absentee and provisional ballots, and that will make the difference. This is no new territory for Jerry Donald. As I said, in 2014 he won by 96 votes. This election might be closer.
When will we know? You said earlier that it'll be a week or 2?
November 16th is when they'll do the final canvass for provisional ballots. If the first provisional ballot goes hard one way. We might know before the second one, but otherwise it'll come down to that last batch of ballots.
Okay. Let's move nationwide now. Let's move to some federal races. This was a pretty big night for Democrats.
Yeah, it looks like Democrats might take control of the House. It hasn't been official yet. There's some West Coast races still to be decided. The Senate is staying Republican, so the power stays there with the Republicans, and that's great news for Donald Trump. You don't want to lose both houses of Congress in a midterm, so that's big for him. Maryland, though, everybody knows what to expect at the federal level. It's a deep blue state. So we had Ben Cardin, won in a landslide. Jamie Raskin won in a pretty good landslide for him also. And then, and what you're looking at now is how Cardin did in Frederick County. So he actually won Frederick County, which is a little bit of a surprise, and he won it pretty handily by about 5 points. And so if you have a Democrat do that well in Frederick County, that's going to bode really well for the rest of the state, which leans really blue. And the same goes for Raskin. And then David Trone, we didn't talk a lot about District 6. It's kind of a controversial district, very gerrymandered. It's in the Supreme Court right now being considered. And so David Trone, he won the seat, poured $16 million into his campaign. Looks like it paid off. He got a pretty substantial win over Ami Hober. So all of our congressional seats, all of our people in Congress are going to be Democrats, which isn't unexpected for this state, which leans pretty blue all the time.
What does it all mean? Moving forward with especially the state of this country and the political divides and everything like that. What do we expect to see, at least for the next 2 years until the presidential election?
Well, I think we're going to continue to see that divide.
It's not going to get any better.
I don't think so. You look at turnout this year, it wasn't quite the blue wave everybody had expected, at least here, at least locally. Although Democrats did better. So if you look at our seats, so I'll take Carol Krim for an example. Since in the 2014 election to now, she had an increase of 5,000 votes, a net increase of 5,000 votes, and that wasn't worse vote participation for Republicans. That was just more people turning out for her. Mm-hmm. And same goes for Karen Lewis Young. If you look at Jan Gardner, she had a net gain of 8,000 votes since her 2014 election. The Republicans saw an increase in votes. So we'll take Chuck Jenkins and Michael Huff. Both saw an increase in votes. So Republicans turned out better than in 2014, but not as much. The net gain was about 2,000 for both of them. And so we'll continue to see that divide. I think nationally, locally, people are going to, I think, continue being involved in politics, and I just don't know which wave will happen next, if it'll be red or blue. I think it's too early to tell.
Well, going into tonight, one of the biggest stories I think that everybody was keeping an eye on was the turnout. There were large pushes. You saw it everywhere online. We were all told dozens of times that we should go vote. Do you think that there was a significant hike in voter turnout this year, or do you think, maybe perhaps that goal was not reached by those who wanted to kind of get out the vote?
I think we saw the significant hike in voter turnout, and I think if you look at the parties individually, they'll say, I think if they came into tonight and would have just seen, those increases for us are going to be really great things. If you get plus a net 20,000 gain of Democrats, that's going to be a really great thing over 2014. Unfortunately, you got an almost equal net turnout by the other party. So it was just a massive turnout, a massive, people are really trying to get involved in the political scene and become more politically active, I think, as a result of what we've seen at the national level, good or bad. I think part of that, them wanting to come out and vote, is a product of the divisiveness.
It's good. It's good that people go vote, right? That's what this country's founded on. There are some people who don't believe in democracy, but we won't talk about them, right?
I don't think so.
Not right now, because it's far too late and we're far too tired. Wrapping things up, Allen, election night 2018, your first as a city editor.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was interesting. It was a very hectic time in the newsroom for the last 2 hours. It's difficult. It always seems like, you think you prepare for everything and something goes wrong. So tonight we didn't get votes until about 10 o'clock at night, which was a difficult thing to deal with in the newsroom. But the problem is a good one to have because it means so many. The problem stemmed from so many people turning out to vote, and that's a good thing.
True.
And so I'm happy we put a paper out. It's got the results in it. Please check it out tomorrow. And I appreciate all the work that our staff put in tonight too. And these are long days. Months of planning goes into this, and so shout out to the News Post staff. You guys did a great job.
Wow, that's such a gushy way to
Yeah.
end this.
Yeah.
I'm
a gushy guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. So we want to thank you all for watching and staying with us throughout the night. I want to thank Allen. I want to thank Graham, who's been working behind the cameras. You can check us out, fredericknewspost.com. I think these videos will be available for when you wake up. And somebody's nodding yes at me, so I will take that as a yes. Thank you all for watching. He's Colin?
Alan
No.
Collin.
Allen
We're one and the
Etzler.
same.
We're one and the same.
Yeah.
We should say that at the same time. He's Allen.
He's
I'm
Colin.
Colin. And this has been a long night. Good night, everybody, or good morning, whichever you prefer. And God bless America.